voice.
The
I'm in
rookie
your
critic
ear
is
canals.
alive, people. I exist. I haven't streamed in months. I'm back. I've been streaming on the Collective if you haven't seen me, and over on Angus's channel for the All American Beef on Thursdays. But yeah, I'm feeling like I don't know, just getting something off my chest a little bit. I don't have much to say all the time, but man. This is something Angus actually told me about a while ago, but I either ignored it or don't remember it. 'Cause I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And what's up, Angus? Before I get into my riggedy rant,
Oh, it's
yeah,
just just like Rookie Live. Like, here comes some content. Daddy made you your favorite. Open wide.
I wonder if that's actually a song or you're just riffing
Yeah,
that
it's
for
the
the
opening to Bo Burnham's Inside.
okay.
So
So
like the
I
trivial
was like,
nature of
is this gonna
content.
is this gonna go in the yippity doo yippity yay kind of a thing? No, but so of course there's so the Dave Chappelle stuff lately, so we saw the special. We
Fucking
gave our
trannies.
we we gave our thoughts on that on the last American Beef for last week, I think, and yeah, freaking loved it. It was pretty great. Dave Chappelle, I've always liked his stuff. I used to watch his show. His main shtick has usually been dissing white people, but he also makes fun of But he also makes fun of everybody. If anything, he will still jab at everybody all the time, and so that's what makes a good comedian is jabbing at everybody. And South Park, I always thought was a good example of when they do that right, because they had their episode Cartoon Wars, where like this one stuck in my head. One of the most people remember that as the Family Guy episode, but I like that one because it's the where they say everything's okay to make fun of or nothing is. And man, I was like, okay, I want to put a little clip together where they show Garrison, who's basically Trump in South Park when they have him run for president and everything, and his advisors. He was doing like a stand-up thing for his meeting or whatever for everybody, and it was freaking great because he's like, oh yeah, there's all the Muslims in the airport line, and something about the Mexicans. Let's fuck everyone to death, and blah blah blah, saying all these things, and then let's stick my finger in this woman's vagina, and I'm keeping it warm to put in somebody else's. Your face is ugly, bitch. And then all the women in the audience are starting to get all pissy after he said
Grab him
that
by the
joke.
pussy.
Yeah, and then it's like, where'd I lose you, sweetheart? Oh, that make you feel bad? That insult you? You're fine with all those other horrible things I said, but now I crossed the line. Okay. And so I was gonna put that together with the part where like Cartman's threatening the guy to cancel the show, and Kyle's like, no, you can't give in to terrorist fear. Either everything's okay to make fun of, or nothing is. And it's like those are two good ones that can apply to like the Chappelle thing with the trans stuff, because they're like, oh, we're so offended. Oh, this is not good. Blah blah blah. You guys know this shtick, and I was like, I'll just put it together a simple clip. I'm like, okay, well, I don't remember the episode, what it's called, so I'm going to look for it, and it's on HBO, and it's not seeing the episode. I'm like, well, what the hell is this? I swear it was on there, but I did have it when it was on Hulu before, so it could have been a really long time since I've seen it. And I'm just like looking, and I was like, look, I went to their website because they usually have their episodes on their website, and they're there, but not able to play. And then I looked into an article thing that said they were removed when they got moved to HBO a couple years ago, and it's like, motherfucker.
Well,
And
yeah, the thing though
Angus
is,
told me this, and I don't remember it.
yeah, when I saw that, I looked it up, like, what? It's not, and it's like, it's not on HBO, but it's available on their website. And so I guess they've changed that.
Yeah, it was available apparently, but then recently they made it so it's not available there either.
Wait,
And
so
that
you can't
pisses
even
me
pay
off.
for it?
Oh, no, I don't think so. Unless it's maybe on DVD. Maybe you can get it on DVD still. But yeah, as far as I can tell, you cannot have access to it.
Huh.
It's
Yeah,
a,
you
it's
should
a,
check out a
it's
torrent site. Maybe they got the full season somewhere.
probably. What's up,
Yeah,
Senate?
I used to torrent a lot when I was in college.
Yeah, back in
Before,
the
that was
olden days.
before like mainstream streaming.
That was back in the olden days. We used to do lots of old torrenting around the area there. But yeah, what's up, Senate and Wookiee Supremacy? Yeah, it's been a while since I've streamed over on my channel over here. It's been all dry over here, trying to get it some moisture over here again, bring it back a little bit. Uh, Yeah, he said that was a great episode. Yeah, that episode was fire. Yeah, exactly. Well, I think most of their episodes are pretty good. I mean, and I think that South Park is like better than Family Guy because of what
Ow!
they because of how they really try to poke at you. They try to push their boundaries with things. That's where they even explained it in that episode. It's like pretty much, oh, there's this thing, this thing, this thing, this, and now you got a Family Guy joke, and that's it. Though sometimes there can be a little bit of depth into some episodes at times, but not that often. Not that often. But so South Park seems to always push it. Do you know when they made their first? Have you seen the South Park movie, Angus?
The first one?
Yeah,
I
they have the
tried to,
musicals
but
here and
this is
there.
my problem with South Park, is that if you're not aware of like when they make a certain product, then if you don't have like a realm of like understanding of when they made it in like pop culture and politics, then you're kind of totally lost about like some of the plots of like why is this a problem, or like what are they mocking, it's like if you watch like scary any of the scary movies or epic movie, any of those like parodies, but you've never seen anything they're parodying, you're like, what? It's like even if you think it's funny, it's like you're missing a huge amount of context of why it's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but I get the
That's my
point is,
limitation with the show. That's
yeah.
why I like Family Guy a lot more. Like I already just like Family Guy better. It's more my humor, but also they're like in-depth things are usually just quick cutaways where you Google it if you don't know, and then you're like, oh, that's kind of funny. Like when you get the context, it's nothing that like hinders the plot.
Mm-hmm. But so I was trying to make a point with the movie. So when they made the movie, they were trying to. It actually would have been a lot different than what their final result was, but they had to keep on restricting it because of all these rules with releasing the movie. They weren't allowed to do. I don't know if it was Comedy Central specifically that had restrictions on them, or just releases in theaters. Do you know how the process of that works, Angus? Like when they
Oh, the
like
rating
when
system, yeah,
theaters
like
decide what you can or cannot have to be allowed to be shown in a theater.
well, it really comes down to like, well, if you don't clip this, or like I've heard of like unshaved vagina gets like an NC-17 versus if it was
Um,
shaved, and it's like, well, that's not so immodest. Like,
right. Yeah, so I think I don't remember. I think it is rated R because there's so much cursing in it. But I think I think if they did over 400 curse words or something, then it would be a higher rating. And if they had a certain amount of visible violence or something, whatever amounts, they went like one less than the max amount, just because in a way making a statement of this. That's a dumb rule, essentially, when they made the movie. And like they always will try to push their boundaries on what they can do, which is why South Park, I think, is really good at that. They always try to play with the rules about it. And there, another couple episodes that were pulled that I've only recently seen some bits of from YouTube, being able to scour enough to see it, was called Super Friends or something. And it's they take all these religious mascot leaders like Jesus and Prophet Muhammad and Vishnu or something, all these other people, and make them like the Justice League essentially, but they're like the religious heroes, and then like the celebrities that they've made fun of up to that point are all trying to. They want to. The whole plot is that they want to steal the Prophet Muhammad's like ability to not be made fun of because nobody wants to, and it's like Tom Cruise leads it. It's like this is funny.
Tiny Tom Cruise.
Yeah, when they call him like a fudge packer in it, and they see him in the factory packing fudge, and they do great jokes with that, with them. But it's like this is a great episode. This is a great episode. It's a two-parter, and that's those cannot be aired at all, and it's just ridiculous because of. I mean,
It's supposed
yeah,
to
it
too because it's
shows.
streaming, so you're like purposely selecting what you're watching.
Yeah, and it just kind of frustrates me. So there's at least like 5 or 6 episodes of South Park that are pretty much really really difficult to find now. And the Cartoon Wars one, the Family Guy one, was pretty tame compared to them. And even when they had it on Hulu before, they had the Prophet like censored out. But they still referenced him and everything, which kind of was funny on its own because they're doing like a Family Guy. The whole point was that Family Guy shows the Prophet in their show in the South Park episode. So they're like, so the joke is a Family Guy joke, and they're like, remember the time when I gave a salmon helmet to the Prophet Muhammad, the Muslim faith or whatever? And then he just knocks on the door and he gives him the salmon helmet. And he's like, all right, bye. And that's it. And then it's like, but then they're like, oh, we're going to bomb you guys for showing this, blah, blah, blah. It's stupid. And, we're going to retaliate against America. And the end of the episode is funny as well with all of it, because like, we told you not to air the episode. Now we're going to retaliate. And they retaliate by making like their version of a show making fun of America. And it's like all stop motion-y, just pictures moving. That's stupid. That's like, I'm Jesus. I'm from America. Let's eat crap. Like crap on you, George Bush. Just like ridiculous stuff like that. Oh, I'm too sad. I have too much TV. Just like fart jokes, America. And then the guy's like, that was way funnier than Family Guy. It's just like this funny little episode, and I don't know. I miss. I guess I didn't notice how much they take away sometimes. And it's always a little.
Rookie besides Star Wars, and even that you're kind of like, like. He's been kind of insulated from personal investment with SJW defiling of franchises, and now it's like finally hit him way after it's already been a thing.
Yeah, well, and like to go with that, like I'm actually kind of pissed now that I think about it. Like I can see why people were angry at George Lucas for every time he'd update Star Wars, he'd remove the ability to get the old copies. Like I'd be cool if he updates it and leaves the other ones available to get still, but that's kind of fucked up. Yeah, like it's like how can you just decide I'm just gonna try to banish this from existence as best I can? Like that's kind of messed up, I'd say. And so I guess the reason why I'm more passionately getting angry about it right now is because I've been starting to watch a lot of older stuff right now. I've been trying to watch a lot of older films, and with some versions that are on Netflix or some versions that are being tampered with or edited, censored, whatever. Right now, I have no idea that by the time I get to watching some films, will it even be the original version, or will it be some slightly censored or edited a little bit type of thing? And even if it's a small censor, like, oh, this is a movie that was released in the 70s that showed a woman's tit for a second, and then they cut it out in this version. It's like, well, I don't know. You know what I mean? I guess
Disney
it's
did
small,
that with,
but it's small, but it's something.
Like, I was fine with Disney having like the preface to, I don't know, Peter Pan and some other stuff where it's like, this has some offensive imagery. Okay, like I think that's a good middle ground in the world we're in of pussy ass people and their feelings. I'm fine with that, but like they cut out on the Disney Plus version. They've cut out like a quick like adult joke in Toy Story 2 of like Prospector Pete or whatever doing like a casting couch joke with some Barbies.
Yeah,
it's like I don't even remember that, but I heard about it. Luckily, I own physical format that came out before the censorship. Like it's things like that where it's like you're like, whatever, that's bad, or let's cut Trump out of Home Alone. But then it becomes more and more egregious, and then it just spills into you can't even do this.
It's a domino effect. Well, that's what the Cartoon Wars episode of South Park was. The whole thing was basically, oh my gosh, these one things are offensive, so we need to try to get them to pull, to cut Muhammad out of the episode, and then maybe get the episode canceled, and then Cartman's logic was if we can get them to pull this episode, then the Christians can get them to pull an episode, and then other people can because you did it for them. So why give them the special thing, and then it'll all be canceled altogether? He's like, it's the same thing that happened to Laverne and Shirley, which I assume is what happened to that show, whatever that is.
Yeah,
the show.
Senate talks about Peter Pan. There's like Indian shit in there. They're wearing like feathers and dancing around. That's offensive for white people to see.
Really? Wow.
I don't know if they cut it, but there was like, I think that was one of the movies that had like a preface of like, warning, this says triggering content.
Yeah, you see, that can be the middle ground settlement of
exactly.
like, okay,
I'm fine with that.
for all the snowflakes that can't handle what they're about to watch, here's a message that warns you to avert your eyes just in case, like fuck, like that's fine. I could if as long as you can keep the original stuff there. But like, yeah, I'm worried that like because I'm trying to watch a lot of these older movies now, and I surprisingly like some of them at least. They live. I didn't like the whole movie, but the one fight scene I really really enjoyed that for what it was, and like how it's literally just put the sunglasses on. No, I don't want to. It's simple though. Just do it. No, I don't want to. It's like and then they have this long fight. Like I love that, and like that I don't know, that kind of thing kind of speaks to the American way, I would say, where it's like if I don't want to fucking put it on, then I won't, even if it's easy. But you have the choice to do it or not, and that's like I feel like more and more that it's just like no, we're gonna make you so you do what we know is best, quote unquote, essentially, and it's just kind of getting annoying. Like I'll be watching some other films soon. I can't think of an example of one that they would edit so much for whatever reasons. Like name a movie, name an 80s movie that would be considered offensive now, I guess, that they would edit. Like would they edit Alien in some way
the giant penis monster rape metaphor movie
to make it not as offensive to somebody or something? Like
that was just funny you saying that because I was listening to it's not the Dick Show, but it's like a spinoff of the Dick Show with Vito and Dick Masters.
Yeah.
Or Master and whatever. And they were somewhere they're talking about toys and how like they used to sell like Rambo, and then like they mentioned like Alien. And it's like, yeah, I thought that was like cool for kids, this horrific penis monster.
Yeah, of course, you wouldn't want to think about that.
But no, I was one of those kids. I'm like, I want that because it's so fucking such a badass alien. But
yeah. Which I agree, the freaking Xenomorph looks tight. But real quick, what's up, Justin Proper in the chat? I'm just doing a short stream tonight. I just wanted to go live a little bit and rant a little. And Angus is the best one to facilitate me with this kind of stuff. Like, because I'm so reserved. But it's
he needs his incel cry session.
So yeah, I need to have a moment to let it out a little, and it's just because like the whole Dave Chappelle thing too. Like everybody's like, no, he's a real bigot and he's so this and that and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, I mean, weren't there honestly, his isn't even that harsh compared to what a lot of other comedians say sometimes about things, right? Like, I don't know. I'd say if anything, the way he delivers it is still funny. Like even when he rips on white people, it's hilarious.
The thing with this special, especially as a follow up and a double down on some of his points, with like the comedy sticks because it's speaking a real truth sentiment we're having. Because it's like, all right, we gotta like deal with people that cry the most. They're like point something of a % of the population, and we're like bending over backwards for them in all these ways to not offend them with reality. You get weirdos that are allies or non-binary freakazoid allies and whatnot, parallels, crying, protesting at an evolutionary biologist saying like biological facts we agree on about like gender, especially in like a historic species context, and they're like protesting, it's a transphobic. It's like, I don't know. I don't think we should like bend to such a obscure minority of like made up identities. We're infantilizing mental illness, and the fact that Chappelle has 2 specials now going at this is opening the door, I think, for people to kind of like wake up.
I think so. A lot more people are like addressing this than I would think.
Because he did Sticks and Stones like shit, and then like right after Bill Burr's Paper Tires come out, it's like yeah. If he came first, a white male with ripping off that Band-Aid. Oh man.
Oh, I know, right?
Chappelle warmed us up. So.
Oh yeah, and people are probably hesitant. You see, that's the thing too, where people are hesitant, like, oh man, he's a black man. Should we say this is offensive or something?
Well, everyone's
did they think that?
everyone's just, like you saw that video or that yeah, I think it's that TikTok video of like this girl was like, I'm lesbian, but I didn't realize I was internalizing
Oh
my own
yeah, she
prejudice against penises,
did a
thinking
total
of them
loop de
as
loo,
male.
did a
And it's
total loop
like,
de loo around.
yeah,
Yeah.
this whole like insidious male feminist workaround by being a woman, quote unquote, with a penis to then trick girls that are lesbians to be like, oh, well, I'm a lesbian with this penis. Like, do you not see like the rape culture there? If you're talking about made up, issues like that, sounds kind of rapey. Like you're
Yeah,
tricking girls. They're like, oh, look, I'm not a man.
exactly. Very odd.
And these
Very
weirdos
odd.
are becoming teachers and shit. Like,
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time. Like, I honestly, this is what's funny. Like before YouTube, I never really considered. I never thought about politics too much in such a degree. But I would watch like the Daily Show. Well, from Jon Stewart, and then also with Trevor Noah and everything. And I would watch a lot of other things and interact with people. And there was always this consensus. Like when Trump was in talks of being president at some point. It was like, oh, such a silly man, and Republicans are so ridiculous with their ideas and theories and things they say and blah 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 and their conspiracies. Oh, they think this and then at some point I don't know when, but it's like it's not entirely. It doesn't seem that weird. Like when the more I interact and see things, I'm like they could have a point.
I
Like
remember
I don't know if
listening
you.
to your first stream with Iron Wolf. And you're like, I don't like Trump, blah blah, and you're like, you're not really political, and you don't really care anything. And it's like, I've known you going on 4 years or so, and like seeing just like the kind of
My
like
journey.
waking up to reality, where it's like, oh yeah, and like just this is a little snippet of like a spectrum of things going on in the world where like it's waking you up. It's like so many people wouldn't care about politics, but then Gamergate happened, and then
Yeah.
Ghostbusters, and then
Well,
Last
that,
Jedi.
that was
And
the thing too. So, like, it was easier to say a couple of years ago. I'm just going to focus on entertainment, and I'm not going to focus on politics at all with my content. But more and more, it's in what we're watching, not in the context of the story way. It's in the context of it's talking to you outside of it, and the creators are talking about it, and like when Mark Hamill's tweeting about Trump and everything, all these things. Everybody's always doing this, and I'm just like, what? Everybody wanted it out, but it's all everybody can talk about. That's in front of it. I don't know. So it's like I have seen a lot of different angles now. I've grown a bit on that, and it's like, ugh,
yeah,
it's
this
frustrating.
is
It's
why I hate
frustrating.
libertarians. Like I listen to Eric July. He's got really good content, and he's like very based, but then he's like, oh, the state and this and that. And it's like, so you just do nothing? This whole anarcho-capitalist, I don't vote shit. It's like, well, so you got to compromise on like your wants versus like who's actually there viable as a candidate to like work towards what you want, and or at least to minimize what you don't want. And when
Yeah.
you just sit on your hands and like, oh, it doesn't matter, or
I agree with that because I actually am more of the neutral type as well, but I'm kind of getting frustrated where I'm like, I need to do something, at least say, I don't know. I don't know if doing nothing is going to help anything anymore with shit around me, you know?
oh, sorry, my daughter needs to open a
That's
treat.
okay. That's all right. Open the chocolate little cookies there. Yeah, Justin Proper is saying, yeah, just speak your mind. Trust me, I need someone to do that. If it were you and me, we'd be too nice. Bring Angus on.
Get out of here.
There we go. And we'd be, yeah, off the rails. For sure. Zack Snyder makes shit movies for retards, but he has one good quote, wake the fuck up. Yeah, that's a good point. Even bad things can have really good quotes. I would say we pull a lot
Oh
of
my
quotes.
god.
We pull quotes constantly out of the sequel trilogy on accident, just because it applies to things. And this also goes with like I remember when butthurt started to be a word that people say, and I'm like, that sounds so dumb. Like, why would you say that? But then it's like I see people react to things, and I'm like, wow, you're so butthurt. Like that. Okay, this makes sense. Wow, like in Revelation, it makes sense now. I don't know. It's just pretty funny. But yeah, pretty much said most of my say there. With that, just yeah, that was pretty much the majority of what I wanted to say. And like I said, if for anybody that hasn't caught it before, like I said, I'm trying to watch a lot of older things. And didn't they edit? Didn't they make edit on another older film that had slaves in it or something, or had black servants? And I don't remember what it was specifically, but everybody sounded like it was a major change. And some people would go, "Oh, it's just a small little tweak," but if you start with one, then you ask, well, why not a slightly more? It's that whole give an inch type of thing mentality of just let it happen a little bit, just do it a little bit. And you said this to me a couple years ago, I guess, I think.
Yeah, I remember something about
where
this.
you were saying like we're talking about Finding Dory, I think. And I was like, oh, it's okay that there's a lesbian couple in there. And you were like, well, yeah, but you start allowing so much of this type of thing and all these things, and that's just gonna be what's pushed to the top.
Yeah, well, like
And
lesbian moms
is
a weird thing for me, in that context, because it's like sometimes I'm against that on TV because I did that DuckTales video where I'm like kind of defending the SJW position of like because the whole thing people were freaking out like weirdo Christian mom organization was trying to boycott or start petitioning against DuckTales because they had like gay dads
right,
for a side character that's like new that from what I know.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, this is a reality. It's like marriage equality happened in 2014. A lot of states already had gay marriage. Gay people can have kids. Gay people can have been straight before and now be split and with a man or woman and have kids, naturally, or adopt or surrogacy, etc. This is a reality for some people. It is a family unit that is, so this idea of like, oh, why are you showing this to my kids? It's like your kids might be going to school with someone with this, however rare it might be, or a minority. So I'm not against that with like and Finding Nemo, like they were kind of being coy, but it was just like moms, like a mom day or some shit, but everyone freaked out like, oh, lesbians, they're pushing an agenda. And it's like maybe there's an agenda, but like this is also giving the benefit of the doubt's kind of my angle until like they show themselves. So it's like Amazon Lord of the Rings, I've been totally open on board. I love the idea of maturing Lord of the Rings for a new audience with like Game of Thrones angle. Because I really hate the black and white structure of Lord of the Rings. I appreciate it. It started legitimizing the genre, but Game of Thrones took that and went further. And so it'd be cool, back and forth, kind of like without Star Wars, would Lord of the Rings ever get made? The way it was, even though Lord of the Rings came first and inspired the other way.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
well, so the way that I'm seeing it with what you were saying, and like, because I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't do that much harm, but then I feel like nowadays that kind of thing, the small subtle things, are like what we see in front, but then behind, without them even knowing, without those small instances knowing, there's all these other, I guess the agenda is behind it, or latching onto it, like to be able to push themselves off of, that make it into like, no, we want, like with Superman and all these other things. It's like, you're okay with that, but now this and now this and that, and we're gonna make this and change this, and it's just like,
there's a difference between new characters, even if they're like shoehorned into a big franchise, versus literally swapping right in the coattails of established character. That's the difference. And it's like, people are like, oh, just make a new character. What a simple comment, or like that's all you got. And it's like it
makes sense.
Yeah, because that's all there is to this problem.
Well, it would show that you have confidence in making one, and that you're proud to make it, even if it's received well or not. You would have made it, and it exists now. Like, right?
Yeah, like people,
wouldn't that matter?
Freaked out about Wonder Woman in Red Son adaptation, DC animated, that like they're kind of explicit that Wonder Woman's lesbian. Like there's some chemistry between Superman and Wonder Woman because they're such elite, powerful people.
Yeah,
they kind of gravitate to each other. So I guess Superman's like thinking it could be romantic. And she's like, oh, like I'm from a land of only women, like and people are like Steve Trevor and this and that. It's like, sure, the character's written supposedly straight or bi, but honestly, like think of Sparta. I'm diving deep into Sparta all the time, and
Yeah,
they were
we're really in a
institutionally
huge
gay.
Spartan kick lately.
Yeah, they were institutionally gay. They had to, through the government, enforce heterosexual relations to keep the population going. So like if you're saturated in like male exclusive like society and shit, it's not crazy that you might be gay or have that, tendency. Um so honestly, like Wonder Woman being lesbian like makes total sense. It's like sure she might learn about men, but it's like a fantasy to her. It's not even real.
It's like, oh, those things over there. Sure. Yeah, but yeah, Senate says Amazon's gonna rape Lord of the Rings. I can't wait for the absolute shit stain of a TV show to come out. Ooh, Angus thinks differently though.
Yeah,
Maybe.
no, I'm excited. Even with the virtue signaling, I think it's going to be overblown. I think like they made The Boys and Invincible. Like they're very aware of general audiences watching this stuff and fans. Like you've watched behind the scenes of The Boys. It's so cringe. There's so much like just outright like fanboy tears and this and that. But then you watch the show and like they have restraint and they hit both sides. Like they're pretty neutral, even with like the I guess like white supremacist angle with like radicalizing people through the internet memes subplot. It wasn't really that egregious or easily pointed.
Yeah,
I have faith, despite their virtue signaling. I have faith that at the end of the day, like they want to make money.
that's true.
I don't think it's gonna be like Gillette or something.
Right. Yeah, it'd be funny. It's like when they made like Snowflake and Safe Space and all those other characters. It's like as lame as they are. I assume that if they're realizing nobody's buying them, no matter how gay they are, that they would go, "Hey, gee, maybe we should, what can we do that makes characters better? Oh yeah, add character, duh." And then maybe maybe they'd be seen as interesting to some people at some point,
Yeah,
and then they'd have their own literal original characters. That would be interesting, if they could. But yeah, so Tim stopped by for a sec. What's up, Tim? Probably left now. An awesome one. Thank you for coming by. Justin, you as well. Senate, always good seeing you around here. This was just a short little stream. I'm basically said my say now with it.
I totally disagree.
Rant over.
I love The Boys both seasons. I thought everyone, and I was kind of on board with like the outrage of like, oh, they gender swapped Stormfront, and then you watch the show and it's like, oh, they made a gender swap to add more intrigue to the plot. Like they made a relationship out of this instead of like associates in the Seven.
Yeah, probably a good thing they didn't call it Them Boys.
Yeah, no, I thought and Stormfront was hilarious. Like I was a big Stormlander shipper. It didn't really take fire like I was hoping, but I thought that could be the next Raylo, shipping this actual Nazi with the Superman.
With Superman
parallel.
Superman dates Hitler. There you go.
Yeah, I'm on hashtag Stormlander.
That's funny. But yeah, so yeah, I might stream more here and there. I don't know. I don't have any type of schedule in mind because I stream on the FC sometimes and stream with Angus every week and everything. And actually, right now I got to record some episodes for the FC actually, so I gotta hop off here in a sec. It says I don't mind race or gender swaps are just fine with the story. Yeah, I mean sometimes it's fine, of course, as well, but oh yeah, as long as they make it good, I don't really care. Yeah, I feel you there as well. Yeah. But that's the problem. They don't know what good is anymore, unfortunately. Yeah, any last words?
I was just thinking, like, I know part of what I was saying a long time ago was like about like what you were mentioning, like, yeah, you told me about the story, like the whole inch take a mile, and I was like going into detail about that. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I do get frustrated with a lot of content creators in our sphere that are just pounding out low hanging fruit oh, I don't read comics, but oh man, they made Superman bi now and this and that. It's just like grab whatever little drawings they can for some shekels on YouTube. But at the same time, you got to have a fervor against this stuff and like, pound everything into the dirt with the agenda-based intent of these companies, because it's like it really is a culture war. I hate using that word because it sounds just so it makes me think of like growing up in like 2000s listening to like fucking Christian radio in the car with my parents. Awful.
Yeah.
Back then they were crying about Harry Potter. They are go aways. Go away. She's like, what's
That's
this?
great.
Like,
an evil
an
evil creature.
Yes.
Fuck,
Fuck, me lose a train of thought.
You're talking about Harry. You said Harry Potter.
Culture war. Yeah, say something about culture war. Goddamn kids. But yeah, like it's like I think rule 15 or 16 of 48 Laws of Power. It pretty much says like you need to crush the enemy in every facet. Don't give them a chance to recuperate and gather strength to hit back a second time. And I feel like the SJWs have really taken that to heart, even if they're not aware. Like that strategy,
they're
in
destroying.
every
They're
facet.
leaving nothing left.
Yeah, every facet. Like I can't watch football without seeing BLM on some fucker's helmet.
Pretty soon you'll be seeing some women on the field,
despite
not in skirts,
horribly disproportionate. The biggest killer of black people is black people, and second is Planned Parenthood. So, like,
at some point on the field, the men will be in skirts and the women will be in helmets.
Oh, dude, like I'm so ashamed. Fucking Philly and LA Rams, the first two teams to get male cheerleaders, and you see them, and it's like, oh, it's not like, yeah, I joined like the cheerleaders because they're hot. It's like, hey guys, I'm a cheerleader. It's like, fuck me. Yeah. I don't need this Fig Newton in my manly sport.
Not today. Not today.
Like, I almost should have just left football at that point. I still like the game, but all the shit they're adding outside to try to appeal to everyone, when it's like, women don't like football. Gay people only like football for the butts.
Making things to appeal to everyone makes it unlikable, really. That's what I'm learning. That's what I'm learning about things. It's like you have all this flavor, and then you make it plain, essentially, to go, nobody should hate it.
This actually makes hate. I think that's kind of the point. They want division, so no one's like united.
Yeah,
against like the lizard people, the Illuminati.
Oddly enough, I think Doomcock made that point a long time ago. He used some either religious parallel or something, where people were like building this huge tower or city or something, and then something happens, everybody starts arguing, and then they can't build anything anymore because nobody's working together to do it.
That's the Tower of Babel.
Yeah, like that. And I think that is kind of a good point. For all we know, look at the things we argue about. Like, even though it causes division, that's probably not even the biggest deal compared to other things that are going on.
Well, tribalism isn't bad, but we've gotten to the point with consumerism and shit. Like I was thinking, I said something about this, like it's really, especially studying like ancient cultures and shit. Like you see all the tradition, like learn about Sparta or like Greece in general. When you see the traditions, and you think of America, and it's like we got like half the country crying about saluting or honoring our flag, like most minuscule of rituals to maintain a society is like, hey, this flag is like all of us despite our differences or whatever, and you can't agree on that. Like there's nothing else. Like that's kind of an opening to tradition and unity, and you can't do that. So like we really are fucked, and you got to keep fighting. Like all this stuff is made to create division and turmoil and pit people against each other. And So yeah, you gotta stand against it.
I agree.
I guess that's the one benefit is now we're finding allies because like, hey, you hate pandering gay by Superman? Me too.
EVS pointed that out. He's like, yeah, there's been a lot of people coming to him lately, and a lot of other people like finding like comics gay. And then I think with the Dave Chappelle thing, there's other people that are taking opposite ends with them and going, hey, wait, there's already people that are against. Oh, wow, okay. And it's like, yes, some normie-ish eyes are starting to see. They're putting on the sunglasses from They Live. They're seeing the alien people. It's working. It's working a little bit.
Yeah, it's like you can only hit so much, and it's like when you're insulated from whatever tribal thing, and it's just casual to you. You're like, oh, I know it, but then you actually get into it, like, oh man, they got like a third one. I got to see this. You start getting excited, you start paying attention, and then it's like, what did they do?
Yes.
And so then you start getting mad, and you join, and then you get radicalized. The alt-right entertainment industry.
That's a good way to put it. I went from thinking, oh, Alex Jones is obviously crazy to Alex Jones might have some points. I don't know.
He's got a lot
stuff,
right.
Some stuff might not sound that crazy anymore. I don't know.
The problem with Alex Jones is some of like people try to call him racist. Like, if you ever listen to the stuff he talks about humanity, he talks a lot of like Star Trek, like sci-fi, like let's colonize the galaxy, the universe. Like, it's a very humanist view in that light. There's nothing about race in that. But the thing is, like, you get shit like Sandy Hook, where it's like he was horribly misled and he's been conditioned following all this conspiracy stuff that's come to light, that then he sees a big event that can really hit the emotional strings of gun control argument with Sandy Hook. And so then it's like he's dead wrong about that. And so that he gets raked over the coals for all time now. You know, it's like you think Mike Vick had it bad because he killed dogs like that. He's never going to live that down despite prison time. Alex Jones will never live down Sandy Hook. And so that, you know, you can't have any fault, especially if you're against the hive, the Borg, and they find one fault in your coverage, then like you're grilled for eternity.
Yeah.
Never mind shit like Jake Blake and Kenosha, where it's like, oh, this guy's like, if not a rapist, he's at least a sexual assaulter, and he got shot by his own fault, you know, antagonizing cops with a knife. But that gets brushed over. It's black man shot by cops, you know.
For sure. Crazy stuff. But he's starting to make more sense a little bit, and the credibility is getting a little higher.
Yeah, there. Just watch, you know, if people doubt, you know, all the people that want to, they had Alex Jones, they've gone down, you know, blah, blah, blah. They don't even watch anything. Like, they see snippets or they hear one thing, or they see the Google search of Alex Jones.
They don't see any context.
Discredited, you know, on, you know, one or two things, but they never watch his Joe Rogan streams. Oh my God, there's so many things that like he's
they
like
don't want to see stuff. Him make. They don't want to see him make sense.
No, yeah, it's like he says this outlandish shit, and you're like, what? He's like, Jamie, check it out, and it's like, wow, he was right. Like,
it's crazy
about so many wacky things. Like, yeah, CIA, they released this. It's been declassified, and it's like, what? This is real.
No, like, I loved the craziest thing that we've discovered was like when the trans person was like, "Oh, the Dave Chappelle thing's so awful," blah blah blah, and it's like the person that works with Dear White People is a trans white person that writes for black. It's like, wait a second, that's not right, is it?
Dude, the fact when Chappelle said, like, he's talking about, like, you know, we start getting equal and the white people change the rules. It's like, call me a girl, N-word, you know, and it's like, it's literally what this tranny weirdo from Dear White People is. Like, holy shit. Like, you know, it's like, oh, BLM, Black Lives Matter, all this shit. But then, like, white bitch that has a made up diversity shield of her identity has more oppression points in this black man.
Yeah.
Like the mental gymnastics. You know, honestly, if people want to make senses, and you and me talk this a lot, it seems so wacky. Or you see like the two-facedness where it's like reality comes to light, but then you get this kind of AOC, oh, it's better to be morally right than factually correct. Like the left, socialism, communism, all these variants of like the same branch of political thinking that affects your life. This is all feminine. You've had the West be raised by like 50% uh, single motherhood for like 4 or 5 decades now. This is the shit you get. You get this emotional, illogic, feminine perspective of, or like that doesn't add up. It's like, what does it matter? You know, like because I feel this. This is what you're doing. So just get in the red pill, and you won't be so mad. You'll just accept the reality that there's like half the world is effeminate minded.
Yeah, and you figure out how to deal with it essentially.
Yeah, you make peace, and it's like you just try to see.
You don't try to kill it. You just go
see the little
that's
thread the needle moments to get past it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, maybe we'll do. Maybe I'll stream, you know, here and there. Get Angus on, and maybe some other people, and we can just chat like this. You know, I don't know.
No, I just saw what Senate says. The correct Angus. I only watch football for thick men.
Thick men, yes.
You know, it's funny. You know, it might be TMI for something else, but this is like who I am. This is how much of a football fan I am of Philly. One time I'm in bed, I'm watching the Eagles Cowboys highlights from like 2017. It was before we won the Super Bowl. We were like really kicking ass, and we destroyed them that game. And I was like, "Are you jacking off?" And it's like, I'm so pumped about Philly winning. It's not even like I love the guys, and it's just like, man, like we won. Like I fucking love Philly.
Yep, that's happiness, peak happiness there.
Like I had to release, given that monumental win.
Release the joy. But yeah, I do gotta get going though. But
gotta go bake some football.
This was fun, man. Yeah, it's good to stream again on the old channel over here, and you know, rant a little bit over there with that. And yeah, we'll do this again very soon.
Yeah, this is fun.
Catch us tomorrow on All American Beef at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. EST for some more shit. Hell yeah.
You said